hi Louise, thanks for coming to have a chat with me. So you came on Ditch the Diet in January, so quite recently. So I was just going to ask you a few questions about how you found it, basically. So why, first of all, did you come on Ditch the Diet, and what were kind of the challenges that you were facing at the time?
Okay, so I've always done like things like Slimming World, those kind of slimming programs. Every time I've needed to lose weight, that is always my go-to. Or was my go-to. As soon as there was a focus of like that, and I had really bad habits, not being able to. That was my only way of losing weight.
Yes.
And obviously lockdown had hit and things like that. And I'd obviously fallen totally off the wagon, emotionally eating, that type of thing. And it was just like leading up to Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was eating, again, terrible. Like every time I would reach for the tea, the biscuits. That was my go-to. And then obviously putting weight on through lockdown, putting weight on towards Christmas. And just hit a wall. And then the more I thought about having to go back to Slimming World just to lose the weight, that made me more even depressed. And I was like...
Yeah, I think a lot of people get like that.
Just constant. I was like, well, is that how I've got to live my life?
Really
restrict myself. I just thought, I can't do this. And then I was just Googling and thought, I just need to learn how to eat normally and show my girls that you can have a balanced, healthy relationship with food. And my thing was, all I'm doing is teaching my girls that they've got to go to a slimming club just to lose weight, and I just didn't want to do that. So I just Googled like how to eat healthily, and you came up.
Oh, up I came.
And I was like, and I saw your webpage. And then I saw your advertisement for the Ditch the Diet. And everything that was listed on there, all the questions that you asked, I was like, that's me. Do I have to do this? That's me. And I think then I contacted you and I kind of just explained like my challenges of, I'm in this vicious circle of the only way I can lose weight is by going to a slimming club and not being able to control, and then the guilt that I used to feel. If I literally had one day off, or it's my birthday, or I'm going to have a takeaway on a Saturday, the guilt attached with that,
which is awful. I mean, that's horrendous, isn't it? Yeah.
And then and then when you're doing that type of eating, it's all you think about is food.
Yes.
All you think about is food. And so that was another thing. I almost became obsessed with food. And I just hated that feeling. And the thought of going like through all that. And I have quite an intense job. So for me, it was just then another process of I've then got to plan all that.
Yeah.
As well, and like plan what I'm eating. Then like my husband would eat different, then my children would eat different, and it just felt so overwhelming. So contacted you, and then it went from there in January.
Yeah, and I remember that your main focus was the girls, wasn't it? I really remember that, and I always love that because you want to stop that cycle, basically. Yeah, and so that's brilliant. So how did you find the program, and was it different than what you tried before? I hope it was.
Well, so when I started do you know what? I honestly have loved the program from day one. So my biggest thing, so the first obviously 2-3 weeks, it is very much like the way you talk yourself slim. There's a lot of self-control there. Things like, so one of my biggest things, my differences is I always used to save my sins for on a night.
Yeah.
So I'd have like bits of chocolate or biscuits or a slimming treat, not sugar-free, but obviously the wrong thing. So I would eat things like that and I'd save it. But from day one, the biggest thing was when you talked through why, do you actually want those treats on a night? Are you hungry for those treats?
Yeah.
So that was my biggest change from day one. And for the first week or so, I really had to taught myself.
Absolutely. Lifelong habits.
Using all the tools that you gave me. And literally, it has been like the I don't want to say that. Well, I suppose I've found it the easiest thing to lose weight. It's been absolutely brilliant from day one.
Oh, thank you. Because it's common sense, isn't it? It's nothing, it's not flash.
Just wish I'd done it years ago. So
yeah.
Everything, the first 3 weeks, obviously, your main focus is the food and your differences.
Yeah.
But you've literally woken up like a whole world of how I have a relationship with food, and it is so different from the slimming world or the slimming club mentality.
Definitely.
When I say I just wanted to learn how to eat normally and healthy, you have done that from day one.
Thank you. And you've taken it all on board, which is brilliant. Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with like the junk food, but it's about having the ones that you want instead of some substandard slimming bar, or, you know, and actually maybe not eating it on your own, but, you know, going out with friends for drinks and, you know, exactly. It's about living a normal life. So you kind of mentioned what's changed anyway, but what weight did you lose, and you know, what do you feel that's changed long term and hopefully permanently?
Yeah, so in total I've lost 1.5 stone, and
Fabulous.
I'm maintaining. But I can honestly say from day one I lost, I think, either 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds per week.
Yeah.
And or maintained in the main focus area. I've never ever put on weight with your program. Now I'm maintaining. It kind of fluctuates a little bit, around 1 or 2 pounds.
Definitely.
The control. I now control my food, not the other way around. And the biggest thing is feeling. It's the freedom around food. That's would be one of my biggest like changes.
And that's what I want for everyone. I don't just want the weight loss. I genuinely want them just to feel normal and free. How people always are in times gone by.
Honestly, and like I said, I just wish I'd done this years ago. Oh. And all I could say to anyone is, do not hesitate to do this program.
Thank you, darling.
Honestly, it really is. And obviously I did mine in lockdown.
Yeah.
So the rewards I felt of going back into the office and people seeing, because obviously my husband and my family see me all the time.
Yes, so they're used to the change.
But not as much as people, like when I've seen people face to face. I've asked, a few people have approached me and said, how have you done this?
Well, because it's quite freaky to people, because most people come in with the quarantine 15, is it called, or the pandemic plan, so it's a bit like, what the hell?
Yeah, and like, you know, I mean, for me, I'm quite tall, you know, obviously you can't tell, but I'm quite tall, and, you know, I probably hide my weight well.
Yes.
So I wasn't sure if people would really see a big difference, but they have, and it's been healing.
It is, you know, I always say, like, obviously we lose weight and get healthy for the health and for your kids and all that kind of stuff, but everyone loves a good compliment.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't? Come on.
And you're just like, oh my, like, and I suppose sometimes that's, and you don't notice it until then, until people, you know, until people start giving you those compliments. That's really when you feel the difference.
Definitely, because you're with yourself. That's why I tell my clients always to take photos along the way, because you're with yourself every day. And if, you know, if someone's a mother, obviously we're mothers, you don't notice your child change every day, do you? You think, how did they grow up before my eyes? And I don't notice. And it's exactly the same with weight loss sometimes. That because you're with yourself, you get used to that change and you don't realise how big it is.
Yeah,
until everyone else starts kind of freaking out. And that's when you really notice. So thank you so much for chatting with me, and thank you so much for coming on Ditch the Diet. You were just an absolute pleasure.
Honestly, thank you, Karen. Like, honestly, like I say, wish I'd done it years ago, wish I'd found you years ago, but you
did it now, and that's the point, isn't it?
And that's the main thing. And I know I'll never go back to the old habits, because everything I've listened to and taken on board, like, you know, your 60, is it 66 days to change a habit?
Oh, yes, yeah.
It really, I have changed those habits.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm on holiday and I'm even bringing my breakfast with me.
Exactly.
But I know a croissant or some cereal is not going to fill me, so what's the point? So
exactly, and you'll save that for whatever you want it to be, you know.
Yeah,
so yeah, absolutely.
Couldn't have done it without your support.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I get all emotional.
No, honestly,
thank you, darling.
If anyone is thinking about doing this, absolutely do it.
Thank you, my darling. And thank you so much for speaking to me when you're on holiday. What an absolute star. So thank you so much, as I said, for coming on and chatting with me. And have a lovely rest of your holiday.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, bye.